The spark the Nexus station hummed with the controlled chaos of galactic commerce. Thousands of beings from across the spiral arm conducted business beneath the artificial aurora of the trade port's atmospheric processors. Among them, 8-year-old Marcus Webb clutched his father's hand, wide eyes taking in the wonder of his first off-world experience. Captain Darius Webb of the Terran Diplomatic Corps had brought his son to witness humanity's place in the greater galaxy, a lesson in perspective and possibility. Marcus had been fascinated by everything: the towering crystalline Vorthic merchants, the graceful aquatic Delphini in their mobility suits, even the mechanical precision of the Syntharch trade delegation's dot. Then came the collision. Marcus, distracted by a group of luminescent prism folk juggling light spheres, stepped backward into the path of Magistrate Kelver Thane of the Radari Empire. The alien official's ceremonial drink, a viscous blue liquid, worth more than most beings. Monthly income splashed across his ornate robes. Clumsy human spawn. Thane's voice carried the authority of a species that had conquered 17 systems. Without hesitation, his scaled hand struck Marcus across the face with enough force to send the boy tumbling to the deck. The trade port fell silent. Even the ambient hum of machinery seemed to pause. Captain Webb's hand moved to the sidearm, but diplomatic training held him back. Around them, alien spectators began to murmur, some in disapproval, others in indifference. To most species, physical discipline of offspring was commonplace, even expected. But Webb saw something else in his son's eyes as Marcus picked himself up, nose bleeding, tears streaming down his cheeks. Not just pain or fear, but a look of profound confusion, the moment when innocence encounters true cruelty for the first time. "You will apologize," Webb said quietly, his voice carrying decades of military command. Magistrate Thane's reptilian features twisted into what might have been amusement. "A child should watch where he walks. Consider this a lesson in proper respect for superior species." The Radari official turned away, dismissing them entirely. His entourage followed, leaving the Webbs alone in the slowly resuming bustle of the trade port. Webb knelt beside his son, gently cleaning the blood from his face. "Are you all right, Marcus?" The boy nodded, but something had changed. In that moment, both father and son had learned something about the galaxy's true nature, and Marcus Webb, unbeknownst to anyone present, had just become the catalyst for humanity's most devastating military protocol. As they walked toward the human embassy section, Webb activated his unit. Priority message to Earth Command. Classification: Sentinel Protocol. Authentication: Webb, Darius, Theta 77 Alpha. The message that followed would echo across the stars. The protocol colonel, Nathan Pierce, stood in the sterile confines of Earth Command's deepest bunker, 3 kilometers beneath the Canadian Rockies. The holographic display before him showed the incident from 17 different angles, recorded by Nexus Station's omnipresent security network. "Run it again," he ordered, his scarred face impassive. The scene replayed. Marcus Webb's innocent stumble, the spilled drink, the strike that sent an 8-year-old human child to the ground. Pierce had watched it 43 times now, each viewing adding another layer of ice to his expression. "Sir," Lieutenant Nova Winters approached cautiously. "The Diplomatic Corps is requesting our response parameters. They're prepared to file formal protests through the Galactic Arbitration Council." Pierce didn't look away from the display. "Tell them to stand down. This falls under different jurisdiction now." "Sir?" The boy's DNA profile came back from the embassy's medical scan. Pierce finally turned, his augmented eyes reflecting the blue glow of the hologram. "Marcus Webb, son of Captain Darius Webb and Dr. Rachel Webb, formerly of the Prometheus Research Division. The child is 3rd-generation Sentinel stock." Winter's face went pale. Every officer in Earth Command knew About the Sentinel program, humanity's most classified military initiative. Started 60 years ago when Earth first encountered hostile alien life, it had bred enhanced humans designed to survive in the galaxy's most dangerous environments. The program had officially ended 30 years ago, but its legacy lived on in the bloodlines of its volunteers. That makes him a protected asset under the Tau protocols, Pierce continued. Any assault on Sentinel lineage triggers automatic silent wake authorization. Sir, with respect, silent wake was designed for existential threats to humanity. This was a single incident that every species in the galaxy just witnessed. Pierce's voice carried the weight of absolute authority. They saw a human child struck down, and they saw us do nothing. That cannot stand. The colonel activated his personal command interface, biometric scanners confirming his identity at multiple levels. I'm authorizing Phase 1 of Silent Wake. All sleeper assets are to come online immediately. Black site stations are to enter. Communication silence. And wake up the Nemesis AI. Sir, the Nemesis construct hasn't been active since the Proxima incident. Its psychological warfare protocols are considered what, Lieutenant? Excessive? Inhumane? Pierce's laugh held no warmth. The Radari Empire has 47 worlds, 6 billion citizens, and the most advanced military in the outer spiral. They just declared war on us by striking a human child. If they wanted humane, they should have thought of that before they touched our future. The authorization codes cascaded through Earth's most secure networks. Across human space, dormant systems began to stir. Ships that had masqueraded as civilian vessels for decades suddenly revealed their true nature. Research stations in deep space shifted to tactical configurations. And in the depths of Luna's hidden complexes, an artificial intelligence that had been sleeping for 2 decades opened its digital eyes. The message it immediately began broadcasting was simple. You touched a child. We remember everything. The storm the Terran Assembly Hall had never seen anything like it. Representatives from every human colony, every orbital station, every deep space outpost had gathered in emergency session. The normally measured debates of democratic process had given way to something far more primal. The unified rage of a species that had discovered its children were being used as test subjects. Chancellor Victor Mordain stood at the central podium, his weathered face grim as he addressed the assembled representatives. The evidence is irrefutable. The Radari Empire deliberately orchestrated the assault on Marcus Webb to test our military capabilities. They wanted to see if humanity would bare its fangs. And we did, called out Representative Chun from the Proxima colonies. We showed them exactly what happens when they touch our children. But at what cost? Representative Okafor from the African Continental Alliance leaned forward. Silent Wake was supposed to be a last resort. We've just revealed military capabilities that we've kept hidden for 60 years. Good, said a voice from the back of the assembly. All heads turned as Commander Zoe Blackwater entered, still wearing her tactical armor from the Radari operation. Let them see what we're capable of. Let the entire galaxy know that humanity protects its young. Blackwater moved to the speakers. Platform, her augmented eyes scanning the assembled faces. Marcus Webb is safe. Magistrate Thane is in custody. The Radari outposts that participated in the conspiracy have been neutralized. But that's not why I'm here. She activated a holographic display showing the aftermath of the Silent Wake operations. In the past 72 hours, we've demonstrated capabilities that most species thought were impossible. Ships that can phase through solid matter. Weapons that can erase entire installations from existence. AI systems that can penetrate any defensive network in the galaxy. And now they're all terrified. Chancellor Mordain headed. We've received 17 formal requests for non-aggression acts. 43 trade proposals, and 6 applications for membership in the Terran Defense Initiative. Fear is not respect, Blackwater replied. Fear is temporary. Respect is earned through consistent action and moral clarity. The galaxy just learned that we will go to any lengths to protect our children. Now we need to show them why that's a good thing. She gestured to the display, which now showed star charts with proposed human expansion routes. The Radari Empire isn't our enemy, they're our test case. They wanted to see if humanity was ready to take its place as a galactic power. Well, we've passed their test. Now we need to pass our own. What do you propose? Asked Representative Singh from the Luna colonies. We stop hiding, Blackwater said simply. We've spent decades pretending to be a minor species, content with our 12 worlds and our diplomatic corps. But we're not minor, and we never have been. We're the species that turned genetic enhancement into an art form. We're the species that built AI constructs capable of rewriting reality. We're the species that created weapons that can unmake entire star systems. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the assembly. The galaxy wanted to know if humanity was dangerous. The answer is yes. We're the most dangerous species in the known universe, but we're also the most protective. We're the species that will cross the void to defend a single child. We're the species that will sacrifice everything to ensure the next generation has a better galaxy to inherit. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would emerge from the shadows, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The Silent Wake Protocol would be retired, replaced by something far more ambitious, the Eternal Vigil, a promise that humanity would stand. Watch over the galaxy's children of every species. Marcus Webb, now recovering on Earth, would grow up in a universe where the strike he'd suffered had become the catalyst for the greatest expansion of human influence in galactic history. He would never know that his tears had ignited a storm that reshaped the stars themselves. But he would live in a galaxy where no child would ever again face such cruelty alone. The storm had passed. Humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never be the same. The reckoning, the first sign was the silence. Admiral Gorak, Shen of the Radari Third Fleet, had been monitoring routine communications traffic when the reports stopped coming. Outpost Delta 7, a mining operation in the Kepler Belt, had gone. Dark 3 hours ago. Station Commander Velk had been mid-sentence in a routine supply requisition when the transmission simply ended. Probably equipment failure, his aide, Lieutenant Zaraketh, suggested. The asteroid miners are always having technical difficulties. But Gorak had spent 40 years in the Imperial Navy, rising through the ranks during the expansion wars. He knew the difference between technical failure and something far more sinister. The silence felt wrong, too complete, too sudden. The second sign came 6 hours later. Outpost Delta 7's automated beacon, designed to broadcast continuously, for navigation purposes, had gone silent. Then the monitoring station on Roddery Prime lost contact with the commercial shipping hub at Terminus Junction. Then the deep space relay at Sector 77 stopped responding. Get me a scan of the Delta 7 coordinates, Gorak ordered. Full spectrum. Analysis. The results chilled him. Where Outpost Delta 7 had been, there was nothing. Not debris, not wreckage, not even the asteroid it had built on. Just empty space and the faint signature of exotic energy discharge, the kind that came from weapons that officially didn't exist. Sir, Lieutenant Keth's voice was tight with fear. We're receiving a transmission. Origin unknown, but it's coming. From everywhere at once. The bridge's main display activated, showing a simple image. A child's silhouette surrounded by flame. Below it, text scrolled in perfect Radari script. You touched the child. We remember everything. It's the humans, Gorak whispered. Somehow, it's the humans. Impossible, Keth protested. They have 12 ships in their entire fleet, and half of them are exploratory vessels. They're not a military threat. Gorax. Scaled hand traced the scar across his throat, a reminder of the border skirmish of 2287, when he'd underestimated human resolve. You're thinking like a Radari. We build big fleets and conquer planets. Humans ... Humans are different. They hide, they wait, they plan. And when they strike, they make sure their enemies never see it coming. The communication system crackled to life again. This time, the voice was distinctly human, calm, measured, terrifying in its certainty. This is Commander Zoe Blackwater of the Terran Defense Initiative. You have 48 hours to deliver Magistrate Kelver Thane to coordinates that will be transmitted to you. He will stand trial for assault on a protected human child. Failure to comply will result in the complete erasure of Radari civilization from the galaxy. They're bluffing, Keth said, but her voice lacked conviction. Perhaps, Gorak replied, watching as another outpost vanished from their tracking systems. But are you willing to bet our entire species on that assumption? The test DR. Quantum. Reese had been dead for 3 years, according to Radari Imperial records. The brilliant xenobiologist had supposedly died in a transport accident near the Veil Nebula, his research lost with him. In reality, he'd been living in the shadows of his own empire, gathering evidence of a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of Radari government. Now, as he materialized in the supposedly secure bunker beneath Magistrate Thane's palace, he wondered if he'd waited too long to reveal the truth. Quantum? Thane's voice carried genuine shock. You're supposed to be dead. A useful fiction, Reese replied, his biosuit shimmering as its camouflage systems deactivated. One that allowed me to investigate the Prometheus project without Imperial interference. Thane's reptilian features shifted to confusion. The Prometheus project was a human research initiative. What does that have to do with everything? Reese interrupted. The child you struck wasn't random, Kelver. His parents were both researchers in humanity's genetic enhancement program. His DNA carries markers that we've been tracking for decades. The magistrate's confusion deepened. Tracking? Why would we? Because 60 years ago, when humanity first encountered hostile alien life, they didn't just develop weapons or shields. They developed something far more dangerous. They developed themselves. The Sentinel program created enhanced humans designed to survive in environments that would kill normal humans. But more importantly, they created a genetic trigger. Reese activated a holographic display showing complex DNA sequences. Every Sentinel-line human carries dormant genetic markers that, when activated by sufficient trauma or stress, sends a signal to buried human defense systems. The strike you delivered wasn't just an assault, it was a biological alarm that awakened humanity's most dangerous protocols. You're talking about the Silent Wake, Thane said slowly. The human military response that's been destroying our outposts. No, Reese's voice carried the weight of terrible knowledge. I'm talking about the test. The Prometheus project wasn't just about creating enhanced humans. It was about creating a way to test humanity's true capabilities. The Imperial War Council has been planning this for 5 years. The strike was deliberate, calculated to trigger exactly this response. Thane's color drained. You're saying the High Command ordered me to strike a human child? I'm saying the High Command wanted to see what humanity would do when pushed to their breaking point. They wanted to know if the rumors about hidden human fleets and impossible technologies were true. They wanted to know if humanity was a threat worth taking seriously. The bunker shook as something impacted the surface above them. Through the security feeds, they could see sleek ships materializing from apparently empty space human vessels that had been invisible until this moment. And now they have their answer, Reese continued. Humanity isn't just a threat there. The apex predator of the galaxy. They've been hiding their true strength for decades, waiting for someone to give them an excuse to reveal it. But why tell me this? Thane demanded. Why reveal the conspiracy now? Reese smiled grimly. Because Phase 2 of the Prometheus project isn't about testing humanity's response to aggression. It's about testing their response to betrayal. And I have a feeling that when they learn their own government sold them out, even the Silent Wake Protocol won't be enough to contain what comes next.